Today, we are tracking three massive developments completely reshaping the tech landscape. First, the Pentagon's AI shift, where OpenAI secures a landmark defense deal as Anthropic faces legal fire. Second, Microsoft considering a high-stakes lawsuit to block a $50 billion Amazon OpenAI cloud deal. And third, OpenAI radically scrapping its consumer-side quests to counter Anthropic's enterprise dominance. If you're trying to keep up with the physical rewiring of the tech world, you already know things move fast. Welcome to inuku.com, AI news you can use, your daily dose of AI know-how. Imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing your computer not only did your entire job while you slept, but it actually negotiated a better contract with your boss's computer. It sounds like total science fiction, but that is the exact reality being built right now. We are just going to call it right out of the gate. The chatbot era is officially dead. We are transitioning into a completely new physical reality, and the sheer footprint of this new era is staggering. We are looking at big tech capital expenditure hitting $600 billion by 2026, which is being financed largely through debt markets. To put that scale in perspective, Amazon Web Services is projecting an annual run rate of $600 billion by 2036. That literally doubles their previous long-term projections. It is wild. We are physically rewiring the entire planet to make this happen, and we have to because we are making this massive pivot from chatbots to agentic AI. So what exactly makes it agentic? To unlock this term, you have to realize it's a shift away from models that just reason and output text, like drafting an email for you. Agentic AI refers to systems that execute complex, multi-step workflows entirely autonomously. It doesn't just draft the email. It reads the incoming message, decides what to do, pulls files from your database, sends a response, and then waits to see if they reply. It's kind of like the difference between having a genius friend draw a blueprint for a house versus hiring a contractor who actually takes the blueprint, drives to the lumberyard, buys the wood, and frames the walls while you just go grab a coffee. To power that autonomous contractor, the hardware demands are absolutely unprecedented. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang is forecasting $1 trillion in chip sales through 2027. To handle this specific agentic scaling, NVIDIA just unveiled the Vera Rubin supercomputer. It is an absolute beast, a 7-chip, 5-computer rack loaded with Grok 3 LPUs. If you aren't familiar, LPUs, or language processing units, are a step apart from standard GPUs. They are designed specifically for this kind of latency-free agent-to-agent chatter. And, as a funny byproduct of all this innovation, NVIDIA also unveiled DLSS 5, creating massive breakthroughs for video game graphics, so gamers win either way. But here's where it gets tricky. The physical toll of all this compute is forcing radical solutions. NVIDIA announced their Space One platform, which is designed to literally put data centers into orbit, prioritizing radiation cooling solutions. On one hand, shooting servers into space just because the Earth is too hot to cool them sounds like a total joke. On the other hand, the extreme cooling and power measures are a real crisis. The thermal density is simply too high. That physical constraint is actually why S&P Global just acquired Intertel AI. You might wonder how a software startup helps cool down servers. It's because Intertel uses advanced graph neural networks. While standard AI might look at isolated data points, a graph neural network looks at the relationships between nodes, mapping how a change in one tiny area cascades through a whole system. Intertel uses this for real-time nodal-level power grid forecasting. They are managing AI's massive physical energy drain by predicting exactly where the North American power grid has capacity, second by second. It is incredibly smart. Meanwhile, down on Earth, the hardware wars are heating up as Samsung and AMD partnered on HBM4 memory chips for the upcoming Instinct MI455X accelerators, presenting a direct challenge to NVIDIA's supply chain dominance. But you don't launch servers into space and drain entire power grids just to write better marketing emails. You do it for national security. This physical infrastructure is the new geopolitical chessboard, and we just saw the Pentagon totally shift its strategy. OpenAI is stepping in with a landmark deal to replace Anthropic for U.S. defense and classified operations, running it all through AWS. The fallout from that is massive. Anthropic was literally blacklisted, labeled a supply chain risk just because they refuse to allow their models to be used for lethal autonomous weapons or mass surveillance. What's crazy is the Justice Department is actively defending this in court, arguing that safety guardrails are just conduct, not First Amendment protected speech. It's a wild precedent. It's like arguing that a car manufacturer who installs automatic brakes is making a political statement rather than just building a product feature to keep people safe. And it's tearing these companies apart internally. A senior hardware executive at OpenAI actually just resigned over this specific military partnership. The tension is global too. Look at NVIDIA restarting manufacturing of the H200 processors for the Chinese market. The US government mandated a massive catch. They take a 25% cut of all those sales. The government is essentially taking a massive slice of global revenue sharing. And when the government starts playing favorites on AWS, it triggers a total corporate knife fight. The cloud civil war is brutal right now. Microsoft is reviewing legal options to block a $50 billion AWS and OpenAI deal over the new Frontier enterprise product, claiming it violates their Azure exclusivity contracts. But you have to look at why Microsoft is panicking. They are executing serious internal organizational restructuring because Copilot is really struggling. They have about 6 million daily active users, compared to ChatGPT's 440 million, and enterprise penetration is sitting at just 3% of Office subscribers. This forced them to merge the fragmented Copilot teams under newly appointed EVP Jacob Andrio. Concurrently, Microsoft AI CEO Mustafa Suleyman is pivoting entirely to building in-house superintelligence because a reworked OpenAI deal lifted a solo development ban through 2030. Microsoft now has a clear independent path to AGI, which means OpenAI has to move fast to lock down the enterprise market. And OpenAI is being absolutely ruthless about it. Fidji Simo, their CEO of applications, literally declared a code red against Anthropic's Claude Code and Cowork. OpenAI's response was to completely scrap all their consumer side quests. They killed the hardware initiatives, Adult Mode, the ad network, the Sora video app, and the Atlas browser. They dropped everything to focus purely on enterprise coding and business solutions because that's where the actual value is. It's like a world-class chef who's trying to invent some crazy new molecular gastronomy dessert and suddenly realizes they just need to perfect the flagship steak that's actually keeping the restaurant open. And it's working. Their Codex tool has just quadrupled to over 2 million weekly active users since January. They are building an absolute agentic arsenal, dropping GPT 5.4 Mini and Nano for high-volume workloads. The architecture on these is fascinating because a main model acts as a project manager. It doesn't do all the work itself. It delegates parallel tasks to a swarm of these smaller, faster subagents. The performance is insane. The Mini hits 54.4% on the Subway WeBench Pro coding benchmark, operating at twice the speed of GPT-5 Mini, and only costs 75 cents per million input tokens, while Nano drops to 20 cents. But Anthropic isn't sitting still. They rolled out Claude Sonnet 4.6 for frontier-level coding and unveiled their new Dispatch feature for the Claude desktop. This changes everything. With Dispatch, you can message your AI from your mobile phone while you're out, and it will autonomously run code, browse the web, and organize files on your PC back at the office. It's one continuous, completely seamless, cross-device workflow. Then we have Mistral coming in with a totally different approach. They launched their Forge platform, targeting enterprise and government clients who care strictly about compliance. Early partners like the European Space Agency, Ericsson, and ASML are getting the exact pre-training, post-training, and reinforcement learning pipelines to run entirely on their own servers, with zero data exposure to Mistral. Mistral also dropped their Small 4 model, merging reasoning, coding, and vision alongside Leanstral, and officially joined NVIDIA's Nemotron coalition. The level of specialization we're seeing across the board is wild. Take the new Aristotle agent. It is a fully autonomous mathematician that solves and formalizes complex research for up to 24 hours straight without human intervention, churning out repository-quality code while you sleep. But this agentic push isn't just B2B. Google is bringing this to the consumer level, with personal intelligence rolling out to all U.S. free-tier users. They are deeply integrating Gemini into Gmail, Photos, Search, Chrome, and YouTube, creating highly bespoke actions based on your personal data history. You do have to explicitly opt in, which brings up a serious debate. On one hand, we all want a highly contextualized, personalized assistant. On the other hand, opting into a system that reads your entire digital history across every app feels like handing over the keys to your house just so someone can organize your fridge. It is a massive privacy trade-off. That brings us to the actual deployment reality. Security is becoming an absolute nightmare. The cybersecurity firm Hidden Layer just named Agentic AI the most severe enterprise risk of 2026. This is because traditional prompt injections don't just output bad text anymore. They lead to direct autonomous pathways for threat actors to compromise your enterprise system. This is made so much worse by the shadow AI problem. Shadow AI is when employees secretly plug unauthorized, unvetted AI tools into their corporate workflows, completely bypassing IT. The stats on this are terrifying. 76% of organizations are dealing with undocumented AI deployments right now, creating a pilot purgatory where companies are too scared to deploy agents officially. To fix this, Accenture and Microsoft launched a forward-deployed engineering practice, embedding thousands of workflow engineers directly into client companies. They are basically paratroopers dropping in to force these experimental concepts into scaled, production-ready systems in a matter of days. On the open source side, NVIDIA is stepping in with NemoClaw to secure the massively popular OpenClaw agent project. They are installing open-shell guardrails to ensure privacy, pushing the whole industry from software as a service to agents as a service. If we have all these agents, they need to talk to each other safely. Google Cloud just introduced a technical framework for intercompany app multi-agent systems using a strict zero-trust model. In a zero-trust model, AI agents require digital passports and distinct APIs to negotiate and share data securely across enterprise boundaries. Think of them like digital diplomats. My company's bot can't just wander into your company's database. They have to meet at a secure border, show their digital passports, and execute a highly specific task before anything happens. This whole agentic layer is completely rewiring the consumer market as well, and we're seeing major friction. Consumer churn for AI apps is huge right now. They are losing subscribers significantly faster than non-AI apps because the novelty is failing to translate into sustained long-term value. However, retail is adapting. European retailer Kingfisher partnered with Google Cloud to launch agentic commerce using Vertex AI, replacing keyword searches with proactive conversational shopping assistants. But how do you prove the bot didn't just go rogue? World launched AgentKit, a verification tool to ensure a real human actually authorized the purchases these shopping bots make. It's a crazy ecosystem. Meta is even acquiring a bot social network, a platform designed entirely for AI agents to interact autonomously. For daily workflows, Gamma is nearing 100 million users with their AI native Imagine tool, embedding directly into ChatGPT and Claude, so you can build visual decks without leaving your text interface. We also have platforms like the Dia web browser acting as a completely new operating system, deeply integrating Slack and Google Workspace so you can run cross-app reasoning directly at the browser level. Naturally, the venture capital space is in a total frenzy. Startups are issuing equity at different prices simultaneously because investor demand is so overwhelming, creating massive risk profiles for later-stage investors participating in the chaos. Before we get into the final takeaways, just a reminder that you can find more insights like this at inuku.com. Looking at everything we've covered, the artificial intelligence sector has permanently graduated from the chatbot era into the agentic era. The sheer volume of capital flowing into custom infrastructure, power grid intelligence, and orbital data centers underscores that execution, not just reasoning, is the new benchmark. As frontier models become deeply entangled with global defense apparatuses and cloud exclusivity wars, the stakes for deployment have never been higher. For the enterprise, the message is clear. The focus must rapidly shift from experimenting with isolated tools to securing and managing autonomous systems that operate across the entire digital supply chain. We have to seriously ask ourselves, if Meta is building social networks for bots to talk to bots, and world is building tools to prove we're human so bots can shop for us, are we just becoming the middlemen in a machine economy? If autonomous agents are out there managing our power grids, negotiating corporate contracts, and even socializing on their own platforms, at what point do human managers stop managing the technology and start reporting to it? And that's your daily dose of AI know-how from Nuku.com, AI news you can use. The biggest takeaway today is that the era of the passive chatbot is entirely over. To survive and thrive right now, you must aggressively pivot to securing, scaling, and managing the autonomous agents that are rapidly rewiring our digital and physical reality.